usually get about 50 to 100 people watch the video, and a bunch of people will jump in on the chat. But most of the listeners all come from the professional iTunes.
It's that time again. It's the Berkey and the Badger Board Game Battle Show. It's going to get wild. It's going to get wacky. It might even get a little zany. We're going to talk about board games and the board game industry. And, you know, we might talk about anything else we want to talk about.
Yeah, baby, because that's the way we roll on Berkey and Badger. But hello, fellow Babbleites. Welcome to the kingdom of Babblot with my wonderful kingdom and the court gesture, Sir Babble. Well, I'm your rightful honorable King Berkey, and I host this elegant podcast, of course, that is streamed live from Babblot, where everyone's a board game enthusiast, right down from the humble king to the lowest of low stable boy. Speaking of stable boys, Sir Barry, how are you today in Babblot?
Oh, I'm very well, thank you very much. I just picked up a load of crap.
A load of
crap. I picked up a load of crap.
Stable? Did you pick up the crap from the stable?
I picked up the crap that was thrown on the floor by the bikers that came riding through Babblot, well, south end of Babblot at lightning speed, due to the fact that I don't know, it was a tour of something, a tour of France. I don't know.
A tour of crap.
Yeah, a tour of crap, but it was it was loads of bikes come through my stable, and I had to clear up all their bottles that they were throwing everywhere, and there was water splashes everywhere. I don't know what was going on there.
Thankfully, I live in the remote part of Babblot, and I don't have to endure that.
No, you're so lucky. So, hello everybody, and welcome to episode 69, as we like to say in France here. Soit neuf. My favorite number.
Number 9.
Number 9. It was the year I was almost born. 69. Okay. In this show, we will have a quick recap of all the things that have been happening in Babblot. And we're going to do afterwards things that make us go, a roundup of news and rumors that have made our ears perk. We're going to follow that up by introducing our special guest.
Yes.
Well, it's not a special guest because they're in our dungeon. It's our prisoner, our latest prisoner called
dungeon. We'll make him roll for it.
Yeah, we'll make. And we're going to play some games with Keith in What Game is Behind the Door, and then we're going to finish off with our Babble subject, where we're going to be talking about working at conventions.
Working the convention, baby. Hey, Chris Whitpan from Game All Night is in the house and says it is good to be the king. And yes, I resemble that remark.
He's in the castle. In a castle. Every time you say house, you're in a castle.
It's a castle house. House castle. It's a big house.
They're two good TV shows, Castle and House.
And Little Big House on the prairie.
Should we do a quick introduction of our special?
Yes, today we have the honor of having Keith Matejka from Thunderworks Games in the.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Woohoo!
Happy to be here.
Hey, so
from the
glad
dungeon.
Keith is a good friend of mine. He's got a fantastic game called Role Player that many of you know, and a few other things. He's on Kickstarter now. We're going to talk about a little bit later. But so glad to have you with us, Keith.
Yeah, man, that's great. I'm excited.
Well, so tell us, Sir Barry, what's been going on in Sir Babblot over there?
It's been a long time, hasn't it? And even Don thinks it's been a long time. I've looked for Barry during the Tour de France today. No luck. Yes, they kept cutting the camera at the wrong place.
Oh, that's the bikers. It was the Tour de France went through your village.
Yeah, they went for our village on Monday. So you wouldn't have seen me there today, but if you looked at the Mondays one where they went from Brussels to Epernay, which is about 10 minutes down the road, you'd have caught me with a white hat. But every time it was like the camera came close, they cut away. Me and my daughter were watching the replay, and we were like, okay,
Were you not?
We were just next to that guy, and they cut us off.
You weren't dancing in your tutu?
No, I was just admiring what the fun of watching bikes go past at like 70 miles an hour is like, yeah, okay, that's it. Oh, it's another group. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about a bunch of Harleys going past your house.
That's what I thought. You know, it was Tour de France. I didn't put it together.
Tour de France. Yeah, so yeah, I got to see the Tour de France for the first time. But it's not the first time they've driven past my doorstep. But that's the first time I've actually went outside and saw it, and I was disappointed. But we had a nice time. Me and my daughter just went for a stroll.
You wanted like the crash and burn dystopian Mad Max Tour de France where they're banging into each other, right?
Shooting like machine guns at each other and stuff.
Yeah, and rollerball elbows.
More of a wacky races, like you know, little things pop out the side of the wheels, or they rub their chest and something like some grease slips out onto the road on the tarmac. Yeah, but,
yeah. You know, they smash on the button and all the dirty dick dastardly grease goes flying all over and everyone spins around.
Yeah.
I
got to catch up with the Tour de France, and the other thing that I've been doing is I finished off working on my soundtrack for Sirenscape for the Lost Mines of Foundalver.
Yeah,
and that should be available for Gen Con. And if you're at Gen Con, look out for Ben at Sirenscape. He will be probably demoing it and my hero anthem, which I've introduced. At the moment, I've just got this today. This is my next job. I'm working on soundtrack for Ghosts of Saltmarsh.
Saltmarsh. Wow, wonderful.
Yeah, so
I tell you what, that was one of the highlights at the UK Games Expo when we got to sit at that pub with the boys from Sirenscape, because I don't remember laughing so much and how quick-witted was it Steve? I mean, I think
it was,
blew my mind. Yeah. Super fun.
Yeah, it was. So that's what I've been up to in this very, very busy moment, apart from all the conventions and festivals that we've been to. So we'll get to that in the babble. But what have you been up to then, Burks?
Well, kind of the same thing as always lately. It's just been crazy amount of time working. Our Kickstarter for Game Toppers 2.0, you know, the ultimate gaming accessory, is launched on Kickstarter. And we have 15 days left. So we're blowing through. We've already went through 25 stretch goals, and the community is so it's just so much fun talking with these people. They become like family to me, and they're so excited about getting in on getting a game topper, and all of our existing backers are so excited because of all the new game mats and the storage solutions and the different things that we're doing. So there's just been a crazy amount of back and forth interaction, and like Barry's showing our brand new Viking mat. Look at that. This thing is like crazy. This is from the artists that did Reavers of Midgard. Now, Barry's showing some pictures of our storage rack that you can actually store all of your mats. We've got storage bags that are going to keep your mats in nice shape. We have a brand new, it was just unlocked at 250,000 of pledges, the Scythe-inspired game mat. And this thing, you got to go check out the campaign. It's like, I'm so impressed. Jamie Stegmeyer from Stonemaier Games was gracious enough to say, give us permission to go ahead and make this Scythe-inspired. We note that it is not a Stonemaier Games project or a product, but we have his blessing to go ahead and produce it. And our artist did this amazing rendering with this mech station up in the corner, the oil production. You could play like any kinds of resource management games, but this is Scythe, and this mat is so gorgeous. I sent Jamie the pictures, and he goes, "Wow, that's really great." And so I'm so jazzed about that. And when people see the artwork that's in some of our mats, I think they're going to really get a kick out of it. We've got a brand new fantasy themed mat from the same artist, but we've got this dwarven fortress up in the mountains, and on the other side we have this paladin human castle. On the bottom left, we have this little orc den going on, and they're doing their mischievous things. And then over in the right-hand corner is an elven wooded village. And the whole center of this mat is terrain. Kind of think of like almost Lord of the Rings, this terrain, you know, with hills and rolling. And we're going to have 1-inch squares. So it'd be perfect for fantasy role-playing games. I just saw the first color print. We'll be releasing next week some of that artwork, as well as one of the things, I'm just going to take a few minutes now so I don't have to talk about it later, but we have brand new collapsible cup holders for our game toppers. And what these do, they have an inside plate, but they also have wells in here that, oops, that was good, where you can put your can of pop or whatever, component chips, but then it also collapses like that to 1 inch. So it's super easy to collapse that. And then what the benefit of this is, it allows you to have larger water bottles, and it allows you to have coffee mugs, and it also can be a component tray. We're going to be releasing a bunch of information on our live, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, I should say, on our Kickstarter on Friday. So if you're looking at our Kickstarter at all and are interested, check out that. It'll be a live question and answer session, and we'll be showing off a lot of our new items. We've got some brand new component trays that we're doing as well that hook on our rails. They're just fantastic, with little dice corral and dice towers fit on top of these. Doing some really cool stuff with all of that. So we'll be doing that. Well, so that's what I've been crazy busy on. Long explanation, but of course I have no problem shilling my product. I love it. I love the community. I love what we're doing, and so I have no apologies for telling people about it. But we, right in the middle of it, at a last minute decision, I decided to go to Dice Tower Con. And we'll talk about that a little bit later, but I just popped in for 2 days, popped home because I've just been too busy. Because we're out of stock of all of our product, I wasn't able to do anything as far as a vendor there, but very exciting, good stuff happening there too. So that's what I've been up to.
That's cool, man. For definitely running a Kickstarter campaign is a lot of work, and but there's a lot of rewarding elements to it for sure.
Yeah, it's I don't think until somebody is actually, it looks like Barry dropped out. He must have had a connection. We'll just talk for a little bit here.
Sure.
You know, unless you've done a Kickstarter before, it's totally different being a backer of a Kickstarter than actually creating a Kickstarter.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of work that goes into not only, like, you know, doing the planning and doing the product development and then getting the page ready. I mean, that's a huge amount of work. And you've got your plan set, and, you know, figuring out things like shipping and fulfillment and manufacturing well ahead of time. I mean, it's probably even more of a challenge on your side because there's so much machining that has to happen. Whereas in, like, there's a lot of, like, you know, a board game punch board kind of is a board game punch board. You don't have to, like, you know, do a ton of research and doing lots of tests with that kind of stuff. But just like the process of running a Kickstarter, of being on all the time, being able to answer questions, be able to anticipate people's questions. And
trying to communicate in the, you know, once you're a creator and you start getting feedback, you start to see a trend of certain things that people are interested in. And so you need to update the FAQs so that you can help streamline the process of answering that well for people. So you're not constantly answering the exact same question.
Yep.
And some of that you just can't anticipate ahead of time. It's on the fly, right?
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of, like, page updates that happen on the fly in the first couple of days, for sure. You know, there's like a flurry of emails. You know, I support retailer pledges, so there's always lots of questions about that. And then, you know, then you're just kind of answering people's questions and kind of addressing people's concerns or kind of expectations. So
yeah. Well, and stretch goals too, you know, because you plan out your stretch goals, of course, but you don't know exactly what the momentum of the campaign is. You know where the volume needs to be for you to implement something where it makes good business sense. But, you know, honestly, in a campaign, you have to modulate that a little bit because you just don't know exactly where everything's gonna fall in, and you want to continue to present goals to unlock, right?
Right, and if you go kind of too far down the road and start kind of over promising things, one, at least on the board game side, it can extend the delivery time of your product, and it's like, I take very seriously with my delivery date. I know a lot of Kickstarter creators will blow through those, but I'm pretty serious about making sure I hit that or I'm earlier than that.
Right.
And if you add lots of additional stretch goals, those things oftentimes will balloon production time. So you got to be careful with that. And then financially, like adding a million things to a board game box, can get people into trouble financially and make basically you lose all your money making the thing you promised to do. So
Right.
it's an interesting balance and figuring out what kind of things are interesting to people and what kind of things are viable that aren't going to impact your finances and that aren't going to impact your schedule. So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I would say it's a tricky equation to figure out. Like interesting, still within budget, still within schedule. Like those three roads meet is where like the stretch goals come from, and that's sometimes that's an elusive equation,
Yeah, and I think you're like I am. You want to do everything you can to accommodate people's desires and wishes. So you listen thoughtfully to feedback, but just because somebody wants a thing doesn't necessarily mean that it makes sense to do a thing. Right. And because it's much more complicated than just, well, can we make it? Generally, the answer is, yeah, we can make it. The question is, can we make it in time? Can we make it affordably? Can we make it with the same quality that we both commit to? And right. I think that's a key delineation. And so while sometimes that's disappointing when people don't get what they want, it's like there's always reasons. It's not that we don't want to give people what they want. It's just not always perfect, right?
Right.
So it's fun though. I'm thrilled about what's happening in our campaign, and we're really hoping to continue the momentum. And got about 15 days left, and I think you have about 7 or 8 days left.
I think 6, I guess.
It's just dropped to 5.
Yeah, so I end on Tuesday, like 10 a.m. Central. So, yeah. So I'm in the last week of the campaign. It's been going really, really well. This is it's looking like this will be my most successful campaign, so that's super exciting. And it shows like the love for role player, is still there, and people are still excited about new content for it. So yeah, it's cool, man. I'm excited.
Well, I always loved now we're talking about Kickstarter stuff. We're all totally off track, but your Thunderworks has been one of my favorite games. I really enjoy it. I just love dice manipulation. I love that kind of, variable player abilities on each of these cards where it just provides some unique characteristics for each one. The game is different every time. The new Minions expansion I own is I love that, adding that just little bit extra to go take on the big bad guy,
Yeah, so the new expansion is called Fiends and Familiars, and for role player, and there's a bunch of, when you're designing expansions, there's like lots of different things to keep in mind, and some of the more important things to me are like addressing some of the things that people have been maybe wanting, and then going deeper into the things that already exist, more variety, more options, and then but also kind of giving people more interesting decision points without extending the length of the game. I think that's oftentimes an expansion can kind of blow out like the game length, and like I'm pretty sensitive to that kind of stuff. Like if a game overstays its welcome, even if it's good, like I'll be less likely to play it because there's a certain like going back to equations, like fun versus time invested. And if just maintaining a reasonable play length and adding decisions and kind of shoring up maybe some of the areas of the game that people aren't as engaged with, like injecting some interesting decision points at those points. So yeah, like the
what are some things that are new in the expansion?
Sure. So there's a new set of dice. So there's 15 new dice in the bag. They are they're unique in which they count as 2 different colors. So in Role Player, the color of the dice is really important. These are all there's 6 different colors in the game. There's actually 7, but the 7th is just for getting gold, like money. There's 6 core colors in the game, so there's basically 1 of each combination of 2 colors. So each die counts as 2 separate colors, which gives you some advantages and flexibility. But the detriment on those dice is that they only go between 1 and 4, so they don't have the 2 highest values. So those are called split dice. They're a simple addition to the game. You just throw them in the bag, but they create a lot of more interesting decisions. And then it adds familiars, which is like an additional player board that has 3 slots for dice, like an extra. It kind of behaves like an extra attribute row, whereas in the base game you've got the strength, intelligence attribute rows where you put the 3 dice. This one gives you another row that's unique to you. So, and that is your familiar, and he's got a unique player power. So you're going to be placing 3 additional dice every game, and because we're adding more dice, but we don't want to extend the length of the game. There's a new system in which, for the first section of the game, you roll out 2 dice per initiative card, and you draft 2 dice at a time. You place them on your sheet, and then get to take 1 of the 2 actions. So it makes the decision making during the first part of the game feel different than the back half, and just that kind of I'm drafting 2 dice instead of 1 actually makes for some interesting decisions.
Oh yeah.
And the game comes with animated cards.
So one of the add-ons, yeah. So they're called lenticular printing. So those are a new thing. Well, it's actually not a new thing, but you don't see it in board games very often.
Meticular thing, Matejka printing.
Matejka. Yeah. So what happened at PAX Unplugged last year? I saw Dungeons and Dragons had some of these spell cards that, like, when you moved them, they like animated.
Cool.
For your like magic missile or whatever. I was like, these are awesome. I would love to like make a bunch of these for my role player game. So that's basically what I'm doing.
Oh, wow.
So they're a $15 add-on. They're like basically an animated version of the monsters that are already in the other 2 games, but they have new abilities. So those are like, I think I'm really excited about them. I think they're cool.
Yeah. The special ability is scare the crap out of your kids.
So they basically
breathing fire at you.
So as you're moving them, they show the different characters or different movement.
Yeah, they animate between 8 different frames of animation, so they're on a loop.
Wow.
So like if you tilt the car back and forth, it looks like the dragon's flapping his wings and breathing fire at you.
Yeah, just like when we were kids, we used to get those cards from Disney on the back of cigarette packets, and you can see like Mickey Mouse wave his wand or Goofy.
Right. The technology has come a little bit further since then, but that's a basic core idea. Yeah.
Kabuki Kid and Don are talking about. Don just picked up the game, loves it, and Kabuki Kid is a backer of the expansion. She asks. She made a comment about one of the things that's really cool, and I love this when creators do this, is now we have a bigger box so we can get everything in it, because I had a heck of a time just getting minions in my main box.
Yeah. So that's that's a comment I've gotten. Like, I hope are you gonna do another expansion? I don't think I'm gonna be able to fit this in the box. I'm like, well, I am gonna do another expansion, so I guess I got to do a bigger box. So
yeah,
there's kind of the regular retail box, and then I offered like what I'm calling the big box that has new artwork on it, and it's much taller, and you can basically fit the entire both expansions and the base game in one box. So
yeah, that's what Chief Brody should have done. He should have got a bigger boat for Jaws 2.
Yeah, you're doing some unknown foreshadowing there, Barry.
I always struggle with it because, like, I've got the new Champions of Midgard box up here from the Kickstarter that had the Valhalla and the Mountains expansion, but I kind of like the original box better. But what's kind of nice, I can flip flop the covers if I want.
Oh, right. That's cool.
So yeah, it's kind of neat.
Very cool. Yeah. So the campaign going well. The other kind of big thing that I want to talk about that we add is, and they're basically like guys that are going to make your life difficult. So the decision-making process of pulling dice from the middle of the table at the beginning of each round, is getting more and more interesting in terms of like there's double-collared dice. Now we've got these little cards that are on the highest value dice that if you pull those dice, then you also get this little guy, and he's going to make your life more difficult. Like your weapon cards cost twice as much for you, or whatever. So they're kind of like, making your life difficult. And then you have the ability to banish them by spending charisma tokens, which you get from putting in your charisma row, or you can spend gold to get rid of them. So one of the areas of the game, like I mentioned this before about like areas that like maybe people weren't like, I don't know how to describe, I guess like maybe like areas of the game that aren't as interesting as others. So like getting the charisma tokens in the base game, there's like some feedback that like, a lot of people just fill up those rows because they don't think the action is as interesting. So now charisma tokens do something super important. So now when everybody's like, oh, I'm just going to dump all my bad dice in charisma or whatever, now you can't do that anymore because there's something really important down there that you use those for. So.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I like that. Well, there you have it, folks. We've got Keith Matejka from Thunderworks Games on Kickstarter. So you can go check that out. You only have 5 days to jump in on it. And all kinds of stretch goals have been unlocked, new ones coming up. And very, very exciting Kickstarter to add to your game. If you don't have your game, you can actually pledge to get the original game and the Minions expansion as a package. So again, there's some really, really neat opportunities for you there. No shilling here at all, not paid to say it. This has been one of my favorite games for a long time. You can see it. I have it right back here behind me, and a lot of fun. Have the player mat I picked up from Keith at Con of the North several years ago, and I just love the game.
Cool. Thanks.
Well, I think with that, Barry, we're going to move right on to things that make you go, hmm.
Things that make us go, hmm. Board game news. Berkey and Badger reflect on the current events that are happening in the board game industry. Some may be good, some may be bad, but there are all things that make us go, hmm.
Hmm. Things that make you go, hmm. So we got Ben Lunch is in the house, and Rick Ortloff is in the castle.
We just need your squire to arrive, Scott Alden.
Scott Alden.
Scott.
Great Scott.
Oh, great Scott. Google Hangout is playing up. I'm sorry, screen sharing is mucking up my camera, and it's locked on me, the camera.
Yeah, just stop it. Just lock on you. Everybody wants to see your brilliant head anyway.
Yeah. So what things are making you go, my royalness?
Me? I'm going to go first. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, things that make me go home. There's all kinds of stuff happening in the news. It seems like every time there's a convention, there's always something happening around that convention activity that hits social stuff. Honestly, I try to ignore most of it because I just don't have time for it. And when it starts getting negative, I just don't have time for it. And I understand people deeply care about different issues, and that's wonderful and great for everybody else. But for me, it just kind of weighs me down. So I tend not to pay much attention. I don't know exactly how to take this bit of news. I found out about it just at Dice Tower Con, and I'm really curious what other people think about this, because I think there's probably a lot of different perspectives. I have my own personal feeling about it, but one of the things we found out is the Dice Tower Convention, which has been going down in Orlando, Florida, I believe for 8 years, has been run by Patrick Havert and his crew and family members and so forth. But this has always been a separate event for Patrick to hold Dice Tower Con. This was not an official Dice Tower branded convention that the Dice Tower crew ran. That is now changing. Tom Vassell has decided he wants to manage the convention as a Dice Tower property, which is a breakaway from the current setup. Well, Patrick made a statement. It seemed like they were very disappointed. They put a lot of effort and time into this. in my opinion, I think they've run a fantastic convention. Dice Tower Con has always been probably one of my favorite smaller conventions. That and BGG Con are my two favorite small conventions. And I have a hard time deciding which one I like better because they all have their benefits. I love the resort that Dice Tower Con is at now. Such a wonderful, inviting place for families. And, I'd hit the hot tub every morning out of the pool.
Liar.
Gotta love it. So I'm selfish that way. But anyway, that was interesting. It made me go, there's a lot of feedback and comments about it. The Dice Tower Convention Facebook group has now been changed to Escape Winter Convention, meaning they're going to hold a convention, but do it in the winter time, which for me is like, yeah, baby.
Yes.
I mean, for me, February and March are unbearable sometimes in Minnesota.
They are.
And for me to be able to go down to Florida when it's 20 below zero up here, I'm thrilled. I'm all in. I love that idea. July is the last time on earth that I want to go down to Florida. But at the same point, that convention's been wonderful. Now, shifting gears from that thought, we've got the other thought. The Dice Tower is now going to be managing it and running to a different venue. It appears that it might be a little bit smaller now going, at least initially. And some people are really thrilled about that. They felt like it had become less intimate and they liked the smaller, intimate setting. I'm really curious what people think about this. For me, it's just, What are your thoughts?
Well, having never been to Dice Tower Con, I couldn't really give you an opinion. I mean, at the end of the day, there are famous bands that have downsized and changed. Instead of playing like the big sellout concerts, they prefer playing the more intimate, smaller venues.
I mean, I think I've never been to Dice Tower Con, but if they moved it, if there was a convention down there that was a reasonable size in the middle of the winter, I'd be more interested in going. I'm not that far from Berkey, so yeah. But there is a convention in his area called Con of the North that I go to. That it would be a shame if it was a conflict there. But in terms of like
point.
The kind of like Tom and his crew wanting to have more control over something that has like his property's name on it.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of get that, but I guess it would be cool if there was like, it was more of a collaborative or cooperative kind of, let's work out a way to kind of like transfer the rights, but still have that dude involved with the future planning of the event or whatever. But from the way you made it sounded like that it's just not going to happen that way. So
yeah, that's from all indications that there's been a definite split now. And I'm like with you, from a business standpoint, there's probably some benefits for the Dice Tower to manage their own properties that are branded with their name. They do have a business aspect of what they do, and I can respect that. I also have a lot of enduring loyalty to what the Haverts have brought to that convention and to help build it. So there's kind of conflicting feelings on it for me. I think that it'll continue. It'll just be at a different time. It'll still have their flair, and then the Dice Tower will put on a great show as well. So I don't think it's necessarily going to be bad for anybody other than maybe the parties involved working through it. I don't know.
I mean, at the end of the day, if there's like more great board game conventions for a gamer, it seems like a win. It also would be interesting to kind of speculate as to like, now that Dice Tower West happens in Vegas, like, is there going to be some kind of connection between more connection between those two conventions, or maybe one goes away and one stays? It'll be interesting to see. Yeah,
I think so too. And now running a convention is no small task. So taking over the reins of that, I'm sure there'll be a little bit of a learning curve. But I think with everything, you put together a team and you learn, right?
Yeah, yeah. And again, I think there's more and more festivals and conventions coming up every year. So I don't think people are going to be disappointed if they can't make Dice Tower Con because it's sold out, or because there's going to be thousands of others. I mean, here in France, there's 183 recorded festivals a year.
Right.
You laugh. Look at the map. I'll screen share it. There you go. 183 festivals, and there are all these blue marks that they're going now.
Monster X150s in the castle, and he said Jason's probably going to run it.
Yeah, sorry. No, they're not going. They're coming. They're coming. So Flip's going at the moment, and then you've got all of these this weekend, and all those the weekend after, and then we go into September. All these festivals. People are never going to be bored.
Wow.
That's pretty awesome.
Well, Barry, what has been making you go in the news?
What made me go, not in the news, I was watching a preview from Origins that the Board Game Geek were doing. And a company was showing off Evil Dead 2. Now, for those of you who don't know what Evil Dead 2 is, it's a really good film, number one. And number two, it was a Kickstarter, which happened about a couple of years ago. It funded successfully, and it was basically to get a game which resembles the actual film. Unfortunately, that after that Kickstarter was fulfilled, apparently they still haven't. No, sorry, they haven't fulfilled. After they funded, they still haven't fulfilled. And apparently something happened with that company. And this other company's come in, and they were showing off the new version. They're picking up the rights for the Evil Dead game, and they are bringing it back to Kickstarter to help fulfill the first Kickstarter, from what I can gather. And then that made me go, Now, the game that they showed on the BGG channel does look like a good game compared to what the first game looked like. Sorry, that's what stopped me from backing it originally. But I'm just a bit flummoxed that there's a Kickstarter to fund a previous Kickstarter which didn't fulfill, even though it was funded.
Yeah, that's always a difficult situation.
I can't see the business sense in that, apart from the company's got to be losing out big style, because what they're doing is this Kickstarter is like a kind-hearted gesture for all those that have previously backed the game, so they can get their game. So these new Kickstarter backers are going to get the game as well at this price, and it's going to be like, well, surely the company's going to not make much money, or they're going to make a version of the game which is seriously knocked down in quality.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I'm not a big fan of them doing another project to fund a prior project. If that's what's happening, I don't know, but I think that's something we got to really be careful of, and would like to see good protections on that kind of thing.
Yeah. Kabuki says, yeah, I heard that the company spent all their money on paying staff. Apparently the company has too many people. That's if she heard correctly.
Yeah, I didn't go that way of having too many people. I just decided to work my brains out.
Yeah, and
yeah,
just
that sounds familiar.
Yeah. So yeah, that kind of made me go, I mean, I do like the franchise, and I don't wish nastiness upon people. But yeah, as I said, if this Kickstarter goes forward, then it looks good. They've improved the original game, which from the moment that I saw the video for the first version, I was like, this is a rolling move, and it doesn't look like there's any thought been gone into it. But this version does look a lot better, and I wish them luck. But I'm just confused over how it's going to work and what kind of business sense, and if it's going to blast this company into smithereens or shoot them into the stars.
Yeah, I say caution.
Yeah.
That's what I say. I don't know enough about it, but that makes me pause.
Okay.
Well, I think we're going to move on to our next segment, what game is behind the door. But before we do that, we're going to talk about our fantastic sponsor, Arcane Wonders. Many of you know I've been involved with Arcane Wonders for many years, right from the beginning with Sheriff of Nottingham. I got to tell you, this year, the Arcane Wonders has some amazing titles, and they're all hitting at the right time this year for them, their production cycle. They've got a new game out right now called Air, Land, and Sea. Ooh. Fantastic little tactical card game where you have 3 different zones and you're constantly moving back and forth between this. I was able to get this. This is a 2-player game, and it takes about 20 minutes. I don't know if you can see that all there. Okay. Really nice art. I was able to demo this game. I only got to do the full demo. I played a full round of it, or a full game of it. It only, it was 15 minutes. It was easy to teach, really easy to play. Really enjoyed the choices that you had to make. And for that type of quick game that you just have a couple people that you want to sit down, really a great little package. I think it's really great. But they have a new game out called Volcanic Isle. Wow. Volcanic Isle. I mean, this thing is amazing on the table presence. I was able to play through a full demo of this as well. I haven't played the whole game many times, so I can't comment to my feelings on it other than first impressions. But the way this thing looks on the table is fantastic. And the amount of choices, you're running around, you're collecting these little zones. You have to build up these totems. And when you build them there, you have to have one of your guys there. And then you have to expand to build a hut. And you're trying to control these other places. So there's this exploration. There's a little bit of a race going to it. And the production is just really fantastic. I think that's going to have a lot of appeal to people. But there's 2 other titles real quick I want to just talk about. They picked up the rights to publish Smartphone. Oh, yeah. Smartphone, it was being played everywhere. It was in the hot games area at Dice Tower Con, being played on Game Toppers. It was fantastic. People were really excited about the game. They enjoyed it. I haven't been able to play it yet, but all I hear from everybody I saw playing it and others folks is really excited about this particular property being produced by Arcane Wonders. Lastly, this is a game that I have a little more experience with because I was involved in a little bit of the early play testing, and it's the brand new game from Arcane Wonders called Dragon Scales. This is a Richard Launius game. I got to tell you, the art on this thing looks fantastic. They've included several different components in the game now with some miniatures that look just fantastic. The gameplay has been refined. It's basically a revisiting of Dragon Rampage, and they've made a lot of streamlined movements in there to make that work really well cooperatively. But there's this cooperative element, but kind of an overall winner and crazy fun. I'm so grateful to see this hitting Gen Con this year, Dragon Scales. So anyway, Arcane Wonders has a lot going on this year. Check them out at arcanewonders.com.
Wow, they certainly do. There's a lot of stuff I didn't know about. You never told me.
Just came out, just released. All new press releases. So I haven't even got a copy of Smartphone and a Dragon Scales yet, but I'm sure I'll be getting one in the mail soon so that we can actually get in and try it. And I really enjoyed playing Dragon Scales with Richard and Brian Pope and the team at Arcane Wonders. And
that publishing Smartphone here.
Is it Eggertspiele that's doing it, or
no? It's another French company. I'm not. It could be Lucky Duck. Yeah, I don't think it is. I don't think it is Lucky Duck.
I don't think it is.
No, I know what it is. I'll find out. But
okay, no worries. Anyway,
so with that, we're going to move right on to our segment where we have some fun with our prisoner in the dungeon.
Whoa!
Hey, is behind the door.
Welcome everybody to What Game is Behind the Door. In this segment, will we put in our special guest to the test by asking them 3 questions. Questions like, what was the last game that they purchased? What is the game they're most excited about getting? And what is their favorite game right now? Berkey and Badger will have to figure out what these answers are by asking questions in particular styles. Let's find out if Berkey and Badger can get 3 out of 3 or fall flat on the floor like a floundering thingy.
Oh yeah, baby! Here it comes.
Oh, yeah.
On.
Let's
Tell
do
us,
it.
Barry, what we're going to do to torture our prisoner.
Okay. To get his get out of jail free card, he's going to need to pick our brains and beat us. We're going to ask 3 questions, all board game related. And obviously, you guys at home can play along, and using guys in the chat, I better shrink the chat down so we can't cheat. So if we don't answer your questions in the chat, sorry. So yeah, we're going to ask 3 game related questions to Keith. And hopefully we can win and keep him there a bit longer, because we love to role play, don't we, Barkey?
Yes, role play.
We love to role play.
Role player.
Hey.
So our first question is, what is the last game that Keith purchased? We're going to do this in a kind of 20 questions style, where we will both ask a question. Keith will answer yes or no. But what we're going to do is, to make this shorter, instead of asking 20 questions, he's going to give us a component moment in between each of our questions. He's going to show us 1 component. And
I'm ready.
Yeah, he's ready.
One thing only, please.
Yeah, I'm not ready because I've got no paper and pen.
I don't have a pen either. I'm going to have to remember things. I can't remember anything right
It's
now.
been so long since we did this, chap. Ugh. Right, I'm going to have to write it.
There's one over there.
The UK Games Expo Awards.
I'll be right back.
You be right back. I can cut all this out in the audio mix, but unfortunately, Kabuki's going to have to put some nice comments in the box, and I'm going to have to flick the camera because the camera is not switching by itself. Ah, curse you, Google. I just watched Ralph Wrecks the Internet as well. So
Oh yeah. It's on Netflix, right?
No, we go out and we buy discs.
What?
And we stick them in our disc player and watch them.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
I know. I was
Nothing
arguing.
he says makes sense.
I was arguing with Scott Alden and Lance Meixter and Richard Ham about this. It was like, I don't go out. I don't watch and stream Game of Thrones season 8. I wait for the disc to come out so I can watch it over and over again. I pay one price. I can watch it as many times as I want, whenever I want.
I agree with Kabuki Kid.
Oh, you look at the chat, you cheater.
Well, we haven't started yet.
Oh, right, okay. Right.
You sound old.
Yeah, what are you, like 32?
I'm 41.
You're 41.
Oh, you are.
I wonder if the chat has any idea how old Berkey is.
Your special guest has no idea, so.
No.
Yeah, nobody knows.
No, I do.
You do?
Yeah, you're 10 years plus on Keith.
No, I'm like, I was gonna see if it has it on your Facebook
No.
profile.
29. Don has it right.
Yay!
Hey, all right. We're good. All right.
Are you giving out prizes for like low guesses or something?
Yeah.
Ben Lunches says 51. You win a prize. Because I'm older than that. But thank you.
Okay, I thought you were.
All right. We're going to minimize this. We're done listening to you folks. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Stop talking.
Are you ready?
We're
Okay,
ready.
we're ready.
Okay, right. Question number 1, Berkey.
Yes. My favorite question. Is it in the size of a Ticket to Ride box?
No.
No. No Ticket to Ride.
Okay.
So when do I do components?
After we both ask a question.
Okay.
Okay, right. So my question is this a family style game?
No.
No. Okay, right.
Not a family style game.
So now it's component.
Not a family style game.
Number
No
1.
family.
Are you ready?
Yes.
You're against family style games? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, I just assume a family style game means like, it goes down to like 8 years old or something like that.
Yeah, easy to get into. Yeah.
Okay.
This is the component. Can you see that?
Oh, looks like there's a little cowboy hat.
It's a Tom Battle hat.
And it's on top of a X-Acto knife.
The X-Acto knife does not come with the game.
Oh.
It's a surgery game about like X-Acto.
Operation.
Wow.
So there you go. There's your component.
Okay.
Okay, I didn't get the Kickstarter version. I have the regular version, but maybe it comes. That's probably a first player market for Western Legends.
Is that an official guess?
That's an official guess.
The answer is no.
No. Oh, crap.
I'm gonna go with. I'm trying to think. Indiana Jones hats. Indiana Jones hats. I'm gonna go with.
But it was blue.
Yeah. So it's probably a player color. Is it the new El Dorado?
No.
Ooh, that's a good guess.
That is a good guess.
Okay. Question number 2.
Wow. Question number 2. Is this a worker placement game?
No.
Okay. Does this game have a Western theme?
No.
Okay. So
Oh.
definitely Indiana Jones then. Component number 2.
Here we go. So this is a token.
Token. Snitch.
Oh yes, I think I know what this could be.
Snitch and bribe.
Is this the Flying Frog game? What's the? I'm gonna have to look on Board Game Geek because I can't remember.
No, that's cheating.
I'm thinking of a different. I'm thinking of a different one. There's like 3 games. Like Portal's got like Lucky Duck has Chronicles of Crime, but that's different. Yeah. And then there's a Portal has the detective, and then there's another. It's one of our it's an affiliate.
Arcane Wonders.
No. I get it. I just talked to him. I didn't. It's right on the front cover. It's like a detective game. I don't know if I remember the name of it now.
Fortune and Glory.
It is not Fortune and Glory.
Okay.
It's Van Riders. AJ. I can't remember the name of the game. It's a detective game. Detectives of the West or something.
Am I supposed to answer that question?
Yeah. Am I on the right track?
You are on the right track.
Ooh.
Okay, I don't know the name. I don't know the name. I saw it. I didn't get a chance to play it. It looked really cool.
Question number 3. In this game, are you a detective?
Yes.
No, it can't be that.
Well, I know it's Van Ryder Games, and I just don't know the name, so I just have to guess. I just have to say detective.
The name of the game is Detective something something something.
Okay.
Detective something something something. 4 words.
So it's not
4
Detective
words.
Club, which is
So Detective something something something. There's 3 more words.
Detective of the Lost Ark.
No.
Detective of Doom.
Detective full of crap.
Yeah, that's me. No. Okay, question number 4.
Do you want me to show you some more components?
Well, we've narrowed it down. I don't think we know. So
okay.
Unless you got an answer, I can't think of it.
No, I don't recognize the game at all.
I think we're gonna get a half a point here, though. That's all I can say.
Do you want me to just tell you what it is?
Yeah, just tell us what it is.
It is Detective City of Angels.
Ah!
So, like, here's some Here's a nice Vincent Dutray card illustration. And it's got a bunch of cases that come in these boxes per case. So this is for the first one called Blood on the Pier.
All right.
So yeah, it's a one versus many detective game where one person is the chisel, the other person are detectives, and the chisel's trying to like not give away too much information, and the detectives are trying to solve the case. And there's like each case has its own little box with its own characters and its own little evidence cards and stuff. It's super cool. Check it out.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, I looked at it, and I love those guys at Van Ryder. I just didn't have time, had to sit down, but yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, nobody got it on the chat.
That should go.
Yeah, you pipped everyone. Western Legends Lego. That's a good game, Don.
Yeah, so the little hats are like if you find like if you interrogate somebody, you can choose to spend your hats on them, and you basically kind of like you rough them up, and you have like some influence over them for a short period of time. So that's what those are.
I can see where you're going with the Chronicles of Crime now, Berkey.
Yeah. There's kind of 3 detective games, like Detective from Bortle, Chronicles of Crime, and this new one. So AJ's actually Evan is the designer, and this was a Kickstarter only game. It looks like they're going to do another expansion for it on Kickstarter in September. So, and he's going to have copies at Gen Con too. So it's
you guys haven't
check that out.
You guys haven't got Detective Club over there yet, which is a kind of like Dixit, where you got to solve crimes with the cards. No.
There's like Spy Club.
There's Spy Club, yeah. No.
Which is the Renegade game or Foxtrot or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. I was just spitballing. I'm doing some spitballing there, boy.
Sounds good.
Okay, right. He pipped us kind of with question number 1, but can he pip us with question number 2? Depends on his artistic skills. Because we're now interested in what is the game he's most excited about getting. So a game that is not out yet, or it is out, and he's only just heard about it, and he just wants to go and grab it straight off the shelf right now instead of talk to us. This time it's going to be a drawing competition. He's going to draw a picture for us. Or have you already drawn one, Keith? Or
I pre-drew it to save a little time.
So we'll describe it to you, podcast listeners.
Right.
And,
so this is a game that came out recently, and I just ordered it. It's supposed to be delivered to my house later today, so I'm super excited about it.
It could be at any time.
Wow.
It could be on my doorstep right now. Are you ready?
Yes, we're ready.
That's a good.
I don't think this is particularly challenging, but we'll try.
All right.
It's Jaws. The game.
Yeah. He's basically drawn the cover of the poster. So yeah, there's a stick man in the water with. You're supposed to draw this out, Berkey. You're the king of drawing stuff out.
It was easy. It was just too easy.
You want
but I didn't explain it. Yes, I know. I should have explained it. There's a great big shark head there going up to eat the swimmer. We've
got 27 subscribers because of that. Yeah. I want to play. I didn't get a chance. I didn't get a chance to guess it. Oh, you didn't even tell me what it was. Not fair, man.
You're on timeout, Berkey. Come on, man.
Yeah. All right, I need a timeout.
Right. Question number 3, which is the current favorite game of Keith's. The one that he can't wait to play right now. Probably Jaws. Probably. But anyway, but the game he's been playing a lot and the game he's dreaming about right now.
Right.
And we're going to do this in a different style again. He's going to give us 5 one-word clues, giving us a nice little pause in between each one so we can try and guess which this game is. So, take it away, Keith, with word number 1.
Word number 1 is vacation.
I can't spell that.
Vacation. Yeah, you have to spell it holiday.
Yeah, I spell it.
Yeah, it's vacation. HOL.
Yeah, Madonna says it's a holiday, and she doesn't say vacation.
Vacation. So this is the Chevy Chase movie game. Vacation.
You ready to move on to the next one here, gentlemen?
No. Oh, sorry, I was stuck in the music world there. Vacation. I'm gonna say no. We're gonna move on.
All right, number 2.
Moving right along.
Was it Heroes?
We could be heroes.
Heroes.
Just one day.
Vacation and Heroes.
Vacation. Heroes on a vacation. That sounds familiar.
This is his favorite game. Okay, this is his current favorite game that he's really excited about. Okay, number 3.
Number 3 is procedural.
Procedural.
Percy the Drill.
That just got doctoral.
Yeah.
Procedural. So there's procedures on vacation.
Oh, it's the maze game. There's a maze game where the heroes have got to get themselves out of the supermarket.
Oh, Escape. Escape, the board game.
Negative.
No.
All right.
Word number 4 is fantasy.
Fantasy, vacation.
Yeah, but you don't normally get like a boring game which has got heroes in it on vacation with just like clerks. Maybe smartphones got boring heroes in it. Magic Maze. That's the game I was thinking of. Magic Maze.
No.
Okay.
I wonder why he said vacation. I think he's throwing us off. Vacation doesn't have anything to do with anything. It's when he's on vacation he plays it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna say role player.
No.
All right.
Although that was an excellent choice.
Yes, of course.
Are you ready to do the last one? Ready?
Yeah.
Yep. Ready.
App driven.
App driven heroes. Okay, Mansions of Madness, 2nd edition.
No. Remember the fourth word was fantasy.
Yeah.
I guess that is fantastical.
Yeah, you're right. It's Cthulhu, but okay.
Vacation holidays. There's the Star Wars one. There's the Lord of the Rings one. What else has got an app? Seventh Continent's got an app. Chronicles of Crime's got an app. The Sheriff of Nottingham's got an app. Plug.
Yeah, you know, we just I already guessed, but I think we just played this, Barry, at Paul Grogan's.
Oh, the Lord of the Rings one. They're not on holiday.
Yeah, they are.
What's the name of the game?
What, the Lord of the Rings? Journeys into Middle Earth, or whatever it was. No, it's not that.
That is it.
No.
Yeah, it is.
They're on vacation.
Or they're going on a journey.
Yeah, they're going on a journey. Yeah. So journeys into Middle Earth.
That's the answer. Yeah.
That is the answer. Yeah.
That is the answer.
We cheated, but we're not going to pretend we didn't cheat because we got half of the first one right. That means we won one. We won half of both of the other ones. Gives us a total of 2 wins to 1 loss. We win. You stay in the dungeon and eat crackers.
This dungeon has crackers? This is like way better than the last dungeon I was in.
Yeah, you don't know what's on the crackers.
I'll take my chances.
You think that's pate? That's not pate. So, why have you been playing this game, a bucket load, and why do you love it so much?
Well, it's like I love the. I like the app-driven stuff. I know there's some people that are like they don't want their electronics in their games, but for me, like a lot of it is like I love the narrative element of it. I love the atmospheric music that comes along with an app-driven game. I like the variable setup. Like I've played some of the adventures 2-3 times, and like they feel different enough that it keeps me engaged. I think the card play and deck in between adventure deck building mechanic is compelling but simple, and I've also I spend a lot of time working on new games, whether it be publishing or designing, and every once in a long time I decide to bust out some paints and paint up a couple of miniatures, and summon my Rob, my inside Rob to
Rob
color
Owen,
my
yeah.
world. So so I've been painting up some of these guys, some of these little figures from it or whatever. So
Oh, cool.
yeah. So I've it's like when I'm not playing the game, I'm working on some of the figures, and there's not a ton of figures, so it's not going to take me forever. So
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about playing it, but I'm also been kind of painting up the dollies, as they say.
Yeah.
So
that's this year. Next year, when 7 expansions have come out, there's going to be a shed load of minis.
Shed load.
A shed load.
I like that.
We'll have to I gotta buy a bigger shed, I guess.
Gonna need a bigger shed. Yeah, that was one of the things I noticed when I was playing the game. Excuse me. That was one of the things that I noticed when I was playing the game is the music. It was different all the time. We were sat at the table for nearly 2 hours, and it was just constantly changing. And I was just that's what I want to do.
Yeah, we should talk.
Yeah, it was great.
We should talk. So there you go.
Well, congratulations, guys.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. That's our segment, What Game is Behind the Door? And we're going to move right on into the Babble topic.
Is there no other sponsor?
Nope.
Okay. Just checking. I just thought it was a mistake.
Babble.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Okay, right. Track number 6. You ready? Your pants warm? Speakers are on, and now it's time for the Babble, 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 Berkey and Badger's board game Babble. It's not working. It's not working. Where's the drop? Where's the picture? There we go.
Well, in the Babble topic today, we're talking about working the show. And so we're going to give a little bit of a perspective about going to conventions. We've talked about conventions a lot, but just a little bit different perspective of when you're actually working a show. And we're going to talk about some of the conventions that we've been to recently, what we've been doing there, and some of those events and that type of thing. But we're going to talk about work versus play. In other words, what it looks like from the perspective of a publisher, manufacturer, or a demo leader actually working the convention. So with that, let's just talk quickly about a few of the conventions that we've recently been to. So Barry, what have you been to recently?
Wow, the first one, which is going way back when we should have done another podcast just at the same time, but we were too busy. It was the UK Games Expo. Yes, right. Berkey dragged me all the way there, and then I drove around like some fierce, angry taxi driver.
It was like sharing the vehicle with Gordon Ramsay.
I saw a brilliant picture on Facebook. Someone said, if you're not swearing enough when driving, you're not driving carefully. I can agree with that. So yeah, we went to the UK Expo. We were demoing the game toppers there. We didn't play much. We played a bit at Paul Grogan's house, and in the evenings after the show, we were just so knackered, or you went off to the spa. And poor Josiah went to go afterwards, and it was closed for some reason.
Yeah, poor kid.
Yeah,
he tried to make it, but they closed it at 9 o'clock, and that was by the time we got back to the hotel a lot of times. So
yeah. So yeah, it was hard work. It was busy all the time. You're on your feet. You're moving around. You're looking around. You're getting interest. You're getting people saying, "Oh wow, you did a really good soundtrack for that game. Thank you." It's like, but yeah, people were impressed, I think, with the topic here, I think.
Yeah, a little bit, but so you basically we'll just quickly talk about where we've been, what we did there, and then we'll come back to talk about working the conventions. But so we were both at the UK Games Expo. I recently just got back from the Origins Game Fair, where we actually have worked out a 3-year sponsorship with Origins, where we actually tricked out 145 tables in the boardroom, the board game library, with 3mm premium neoprene mats. It was spectacular. People loved it. We had a great big 10-foot inflatable top hat above our booth. Keith, you were at Origins as well.
I was, yes. We had like a 10 by 20 foot booth. It's the second time I've exhibited at that show. The first time I was there, I shared a booth with Eduardo Baref, and so I kind of had half a booth. This time, I had kind of a twice as big booth, and I brought like 8 people with me. So we had a demo table in the demo room where people could walk up and try any of the latest Thunderworks stuff that's coming out, like cartographers or lockup or some role player stuff. And then I had a nice one of the smaller tables and kind of the full size 6-foot with the table topper on it.
Yeah, you had the big Holmes game topper, and then you had the Lestrade 36 by 36 game topper. Yeah,
he's the expert, right? Yeah. And they looked great, and ran demos and sold a lot of games, and was very tired.
And then Barry, I just recently just came back from Dice Tower Con, and again, I had a great time. I was only there 2 days, but all I did was they have the hot games area where they have 8 game toppers set up, and a couple of publishers had their game toppers with. But all I did was put on my top hat and walked around that area and handed out Kickstarter cards. But basically, everybody was just coming up to me, either thanking me for being producing the product because they were current backers, or new people saying, "Hey, I'm just in the campaign." And so, without hardly having a booth, I had a booth and had great interactions with people. And I got to spend some time with and have a few business meetings with some publishers and different things too. So it was really a wonderful time. But Barry, you've also been to several convention festivals, correct?
Yes. I've been to one, which is Paris Ludic again. That was the weekend that's just passed. It's a weekend outdoor event where all the French and Belgian publishers, I think there was a couple of German publishers there as well. And actually I was quite surprised to see Cool Mini or Not were there, and Colossal Games were there as well, but they were all just outside in their little canopy tents, demoing games. And I was just a visitor going around, catching up with friends and talking to future clients who want soundtracks. So yeah, in very hot weather. It was like 90s, high 90s for you guys. It was like 39 degrees, 38 degrees in Paris at that time.
And humid?
It wasn't humid. It was just scorching hot.
Just hot. So the cardboard holds up okay in the heat?
Yeah. The plastic didn't melt. So
that's interactive gaming.
That's interactive gaming. You've got to keep moving though, because when that sun comes peeking through and starts burning your bum crack, you got to move your chair.
Your bum crack. Burning your bum crack. That's a new hashtag.
Nobody puts sun cream there, do they? You know, but you walk past a gaming table and you see someone bending over the table and their bum crack sticking out, and it's like, that's gonna burn, baby. Burn.
There are like dedicated bum crack, like cream people walking around and just spraying people's bum cracks.
Yeah,
that's like Chris Miller's. What do they call it? Yeah, something.
Yeah. So there you go. That's the highlight.
Well, okay, so we're going to a lot of conventions. Of course, we've got Gen Con coming up, Essence coming up. There's all kinds of other BGG Con, PAX Unplugged, all kinds of different regional conventions. So we're hitting a lot of conventions. Keith, of course, you're a publisher now, so you are having to coordinate a lot of additional things than when you went as just an attendee, correct?
For sure, yeah. So, so I do about 10 shows a year, and they're all from either small regional shows or like bigger ones like Gen Con, or I'll be heading to Essen this year. So,
ooh, see you there.
Ooh, fancy.
I'll be there too.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, so it is staggering, kind of the amount of work that it is to kind of pull off being an exhibitor at a larger show. The smaller shows aren't as big a deal, but definitely if you're going to a show and you've got people that are going to be helping you, because it takes a lot of people to run these shows and these events, right? So I remember when I was first considering going to Gen Con, I was like asking friends, like, how many people do you bring? And they were like 9. I was like, that's crazy. Like, it was just going to be like me and my wife or something. But you do really need those people, because you need to be running demos to support your games, whether it be ticketed demos in an event hall, or if you've got a booth big enough to be running small demos there. And then you need people everybody wants to know about your game. So you need people kind of giving the pitches, the people as they walk past or ask questions. And then you need people that are running the cash register and kind of answering people's like retail questions. And then for me, kind of I'm the face of my company, because it's kind of just me and a bunch of contractors. People just want to come to the booth and talk to me, which is totally cool and really and exciting for me. But that means I can't be doing other things when I'm either kind of talking to customers or fans, or there's like international publishers that want to talk to me, or manufacturers that want to talk to me, or whatever. I end up kind of taking meetings and kind of talking to people. So I'm basically not available the entire show. So I have like all these other people that I need to help me. So kind of coordinating all those people and scheduling all those events, and making sure that the people that I like to make sure that the people that are coming to help me also have time to enjoy the show if they want to. So like I make sure I'm not scheduling too many hours for any one person, so they have an opportunity to, see Gen Con, not just work it. And then just hotels and transportation for all these people. It balloons to a lot of work really fast,
Well, I think that's one thing that, when you're going as an attendee, you're basically managing your own schedule. You're just, if you decide to do schedule events, you put them in your calendar, you make accommodations, all of those kind of things. When I go to conventions as an attendee, I pretty much just go hang out wherever I want to. I don't try to schedule much. But what you're hitting on here is two things. You have your booth prep, that you need to bring certain amount of marketing material. You need to bring a certain amount of booth equipment, all of those kind of things. That usually also means an awful lot of behind the scenes coordination to get the product there logistically, whether you're driving yourself and packing it up, or if you're coordinating media around the event with Origins. You have to get your artwork in ahead of time if you're doing the coupon book or all of these kind of things. So there's a lot of logistics that go behind the scenes. And I think one of the things that's interesting, when you're a larger company, you may have a team of 6, 8, 10 people. You have an art director, you have a marketing manager, you have a booth coordinator, you have different resources available to you. But when you're a smaller publisher, we kind of wear all of those hats.
Right.
Isn't that right?
Exactly.
And so,
yeah.
and that's a real challenge. It's crazy amount of work but before we get to the convention, we're usually exhausted.
That's true.
And then when you're at the convention, you have to shift gears to being happy that, hey, I'm here, and all that stress of getting that done, that's behind us now. Now we're shifting into a new gear of showing what we're excited about, and I mean, it takes an incredible toll on a person that I don't think most people recognize. But on the other hand, for me, this is my perspective. I'm so jazzed about meeting the people and so jazzed about what we're doing that I quickly forget about all of it, and I just go into this different environment almost, where I'm just in the moment.
And then, like, as soon as the hall closes or whatever, like, everything comes crashing down for me, right? So, like, I think people don't get how like demoing games is really hard, like, or even just kind of doing sales pitches and stuff, because like you're trying to accomplish multiple goals at the same time, and one is like keep it as brief as possible, make sure it's clear, speak clearly and effectively, be entertaining, and also kind of and also keep an eye on what keeping especially if you're doing a demo, like keeping your eye on the rules and everything, and being careful not to tell people, not taking people's turns for them, but making sure that they're aware of what they're strategic options are. So like, so you're like on the whole time. There's no like in between turns. You're just chilling out or whatever. So like running demos is really exhausting.
Well, Barry is a seasoned professional at teaching games. I mean, I'm serious. This guy really does a fantastic job. He's worked for Bombayx and Monolith and many other companies demoing complex games. And he helped me at the UK Games Expo demoing the Game Topper. And Barry just does a fabulous job. But tell us how you handle that kind of workload going from morning till early evening.
Are you asking me or Barry?
Barry. Okay.
Yeah, I just smile and push my way through it. I just slip into this character and I just don't take everything lightheartedly and I just turn into a different person. Probably Josiah's probably told you many stories about all the rubbish that I churn out during the course of the day, just to keep us going and keep momentum high. I'm just a clown, and yeah.
Well, there's something about that though, Keith. You hit on it. You kind of run a little bit on an adrenaline high because you gear up for it because you're okay. I'm here for a reason, and I want to do my best job. I want to bring something for my backers, for my potential backers, that is exciting.
Yeah, and it's especially like when people are excited to come and talk to me, and it's like if I don't like have the same level of excitement, I'm just gonna let them down, So like, this is their 5 minutes or whatever to talk to you or ask whatever question. They don't care that you've been answering that same question 20 times that day already or whatever. Like, and there's an opportunity to fail that person there, and I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, that's such a great point because it's even with media type things. We're a very small channel, but we've had people come up to us and they feel as if they know us because they've listened to us.
Right.
So they feel that they're connected to us, even though we might not have personal relationship. But then there's that moment where that can be developed, and I relish those moments. I look forward to those backers coming and interacting and taking a picture. Just at Dice Tower Con, we had this family came over and they backed on Kickstarter Game Topper's first generation. And they were so happy. They're actually buying a second Game Topper, and their daughter was about 8 years old. She's just gleaming. She goes, "Yeah, this is the guy that makes that topper." And she just got all excited. And so we're talking, and I asked her how she liked it. And I said, "Did you like to take a picture? Would you like to wear my top hat?" And she got this big smile on her face, and she wore the top hat. And she had one of those moments. It's just a small thing, but she had a moment that means something, and I love those opportunities.
That's my favorite part of the show. Like when you make a connection with a fan or you make a connection with somebody, or you demo game and you can just see how much they really like what they're doing, and they seem to like what you created. It's hard to beat that, really. It feels really good.
Yeah, I just enjoy the interaction. I think that's what keeps me going. I prefer demoing stuff to people because then I'm in my world. I know everything. I know. Whereas if I'm going around demoing other people's games, it's constant learning of rules and everything. So most of my events are spent just talking to people I know, people I don't know. And I just enjoy it. And I mean, I'm not a big hotshot celebrity, that gets stopped every 5 seconds. But
I'm sure you get stopped sometimes, though, right? Like,
very rarely,
If I saw you in the hallway, I'd stop you.
Yeah, that's very kind.
I was like, "You're that goofball from the Dice Tower."
Notice you didn't say Berkey and Badger Board Game Battle Show.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You're the podcast guy.
Yeah, okay. You can stay in the dungeon and rot for right.
I need some more crackers. I'm running up.
Pate.
We're down to Nutella now, which resembles Nutella.
Oh,
so let's say
chocolate spread.
Keith,
smelly Nutella.
You're managing a booth, Barry. A lot of times you're helping manage a team. doing demos, what would you recommend to people that maybe they've not taken this kind of role on before? You know, shifts can vary. You know, doing an 8-hour shift is brutal, right?
Yeah, kind of.
You can manage the first day, but all of a sudden the second and third and by the fourth day, there's not a lot left in the tank, right?
It depends how busy you are. If you are constantly on the go, you don't notice the time go. Seriously.
That's true.
When there's dips and pulls, you know, like at the expo, the Sunday was just dead. I don't know what was going on the Sunday, but you know, it's a different wave pattern. I mean, Essen is a different wave pattern as well. It's like Thursday is quite busy, Friday is very busy, Saturday is sometimes a bit busier than Friday, and then Sunday drops off a little bit. But UK Expo, it was like Sunday was ghost town by the afternoon, and it was like I'm twiddling my thumbs, and that's when you start feeling the drag, the lull, and your body starts to go, oh, I need to go home.
Right.
But if you're on the go all 8 hours, 4 days a week, you don't feel it, you don't notice it, especially someone like me who just thrives on the adrenaline of making people aware of this over here and this is how it works, and throwing in stupid jokes and having people laugh at you and they go, ha, I am actually funny.
For me, it's like when it's happening, I'm on, but as soon as like I'm able to kind of let down a little bit, then like I just run out of energy real quick.
Yeah, it's like a balloon that deflates really, really quickly when you stop. Yeah.
So what would you recommend to somebody that's coming to be a demoer, for instance, for your team the first time, and maybe they have a reasonable shift pattern where 4-hour shifts a day or something like that?
Just make sure that they fill themselves up properly beforehand, and then when they have their break, make sure that they're emptying themselves and filling themselves back up, and just being aware of everything, and being aware of the other team members and learning from them as well, because you pick up bits and pieces from different people. You know, you might have a way of teaching a game, but someone else might have a quicker way of teaching, or they might use a word which is different, which is a lot more easy to communicate for a certain group of players. So it's you transform your spiel as you go. I mean, I noticed it with Game Toppers. I know nothing about Game Toppers. I can't sell a Game Topper because for me, it's all about the sensation of sitting at it and it's comfy. That's my sale tactic. Get a Game Topper. It's comfy. That's it.
Well, I think what kind of happens too, like playing on what you just said, is you develop somewhat of a chant, almost like an auctioneer. I mean, you have some bullet points that you want to cover that allows you to do it in a nice, concise way, and yet not sound canned.
Yeah.
You know, because you want to be authentic with questions and not just be on your spiel.
And yeah, not be repetitive robot repeating the same thing. I can't repeat. I'm an improviser. I just go off the script all the time. So
right. I mean, like in my mind, I develop a script kind of naturally after demoing a game, 200 times or whatever. But every game is different, right? So like, as soon as like somebody's like looking at something, I can tell they're curious about that. So then like I go off script to like, to answer that question, to get them focused on the part that I'm trying to teach or whatever. So like, I think when you go to a show to demo a game, I mean, it seems obvious, but like you should really, really know that game inside and out, and then maybe have practice teaching it to a couple friends at least before the show.
A lot of companies don't do that though. A lot of companies will teach you the day before when you get to the hotel. It's like, right, you've got to learn this game. Boom.
Right. So what I do before like the convention season starts, because I bring a lot of local people to shows. I just have a barbecue at my house and bring everybody over. So that and everybody can just play the latest stuff, so that they can ask questions or practice teaching to each other, or just
that's a great idea.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It's like a good kind of bring the team together, morale building, but also it actually gets something done as well.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a fun thing.
Well, I think a good team building practice is doing some of those things ahead of time. And some of the companies I've noticed that they take a proactive stance there, where they actually work towards educating and helping their workers beforehand. When you just show up, you've got that deer in the headlights type thing. And I can't tell you how many times I've had a really bad demo because the demoer just was not prepared. And I don't blame them solely. I think there's a the demoer has to take some responsibility too. They're not there to
go. And if you've got those two different people at the table that want to learn the game different ways, like somebody's going to lose there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Kabuki's kid said they lost the feed. I don't know if anybody else has lost it. It looked like the chat had kind of gone dead there.
Oh yeah, we got bad backup stream is gone for some reason.
So are we live?
Oh, we're still talking.
It's back. Well, yeah, I think that's let me ask you this question just as a publisher. This is less of, an individual preparing themselves for what they're going to come into, but I know you had Tim Vining helping you at Origins, and Tim is just he's fantastic. I love Tim to death. He's such a good people person and does so many things so well. He's just an asset to the community, right?
He is.
But what do you do to vet, if you will? For Game Toppers, I'm very concerned that we're giving the right information to people. So I have a fairly high standard of what I expect from my workers. So I go through a little bit of a vetting process. Now, of course, I let down my standard entirely by having Barry help.
Right. Big mistake.
Big mistake.
But do you do that as well to find out if there's the right personality fit, the right communication skill?
Most of the people that I have demoing from me are my friends, or they're people I've known for a while. So and they genuinely want the best for my company and want to be a part of the process. And of the people that I know, I try to identify people who might be interested in helping. I haven't gotten to the point in which I needed so many people. It went past the people that I know. But I can imagine that being a potential problem for sure. If hey, I need 20 people to run demos and I don't know where I'm going to get them from, then I probably would start hitting up people I know online and kind of cherry picking people instead of doing a submission and vetting process that way. Yeah.
I know Envoy Vincent has a crew of people that help do demos, and I think he's gone through a little bit of a process to make sure that the envoys are credible. But you still have that learning curve of a new product.
Right. And then, I'm also, there's probably a little bit of trial and error. So if I find somebody, I want to try them out, bring them out to a small show, help out. And then if I don't think they do a great job, I find somebody else for the next show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could always go around and just hire Chaz Marler, Rodney Smith, and
yep, that's easy.
Yeah.
I tried hiring Scott Alden to do some booth help one day, but just didn't quite work out. He wanted to. He said he really, really wanted to, but just couldn't do it.
Seriously.
Seriously. Okay.
No. Surely I jest.
Yeah. Hopefully Scott remembers to hire me for cans.
Well, what couple of little things too I think I would mention about working a convention is you have to take care of yourself in a different way. You can't stay out all night long playing games when you have to be ready for the next day. And so you got to go into a convention that you're working with a different mindset. It's not about you and your entertainment as much. If you get that opportunity, wonderful, but you have to I've got this guy, his name is Kelly Hughes, who is a professor at a college in Alexandria. He has the summers off. He's an Envoy person. He helps a local game store, but in the summers, he helps me at the conventions. He was at Origins. He'll be at Gen Con. Well, this guy, he's a workhorse, man. He just goes to town. And I said, well, you can take some time. He goes, no, I'm here to work. I'm here because his frame of mind is, that's why I'm here. So he's able to do that and be content because he went into it that I'm not going to a convention so I can have a good time and then the work is in the way. He's there. No, I'm here to work. And if I have a good time, that's great.
And if I blow my mouth off with some prawns dipped in horseradish sauce. That's okay.
You didn't like those St. Elmo's shrimp, huh?
Didn't know.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. So I've got some guys like Tim. You mentioned, like, you know, I kind of give people the opportunity to take time and enjoy the show on their own. But there's at least a couple of my guys that are like, I'm here to work. Like, I want to help you out. I don't want to, you know, they're not so excited about walking the floor and doing lots of events. They're more interested in selling games and telling people about Thunderworks stuff. So, you know, if people want to do that, you know, it's awesome. But it's not something like, I don't think it's a requirement to work in my booth. But it's appreciated, you know?
Yeah. I just mean when you have made a commitment to a publisher, if you're working someone's booth, you've made an arrangement, you got to give them your all and go into it, I think, with a little different mindset, because that, you know, if you're there because, oh, I just got somebody to get me a ticket so I can go to the convention and I have to work, but I'm really there for the convention, it's probably not the best mindset. While
Right.
you want to let people enjoy themselves, of course, but I'm just saying, if you're the worker, if you go into that mindset, how can I serve this publisher? You know, they've brought me in. Do your best for them, and then as a side benefit, you're going to have some time that you can enjoy. But I'd encourage you not to stay out till 2 a.m. playing games, because that next day it's going to be hard to be enthusiastic and give it your all, right?
Yeah, or stay out till 10 o'clock smoking cigars and drinking Baileys.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh dear. Yes.
Well, Barry, do you have any closing statements about doing conventions, or any recommendations you'd have?
I just know yourself. Know what you want. Know what you can do. I mean, if you like just going to conventions and playing games, then go to conventions and play games. If you like enlightening people about a product, a game, or you like a publisher and you want to help, you know, sell their games, then go along and help out. I mean, yes, you get the advantage of maybe getting a copy at the end of the show when it's all finished, but at the end of the day, it's that interaction with other people and seeing their eyes light up when you show them something or give them a strategy to a game which they played maybe the previous first version of, but this new version is like, oh wow, that's interesting. Yeah. So for me, it's that. And then I just stay at the stand all day and the world comes to me, you know. Oh, look, there's what's his name? Bruno Catala. He's come over to say hello. Yeah.
That's awesome. How about you, Keith?
I mean, I would say working at a show is super fun. It's definitely a different experience than just going to a show and playing. You can see behind the curtain a little bit as to how things work and meet a lot of people that are in the industry. And if that's interesting to you, or I would say you should try it. But be prepared to work. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's my thought to people too, is that it's a different experience. And I love what Barry said. I couldn't have said it better. So know your own limitations. You know, you don't have to fit a certain mold. You don't have to be a demoer. If you want to enjoy a convention, go enjoy it. If you like doing that, and you do have, you know, I know Chris Whitpan, for instance, and his wife Sharon, they work for Capstone Games a lot, and I know Clay has come to count on them and rely on them because they just do a great job, but they really enjoy that aspect. But I don't think they generally work 8 hours. They generally do 4-hour shifts, and that feels within their limitation or whatever, where hey, we'll do a really good job if we do it like this. And so kind of learn that aspect. And I don't think there's any failure in trying. You can try this and see if it works out for you. And do a little diligence ahead of time and just give that commitment to the publishers. See them. And after you've done a show, if you go like, you know, that's just not for me, there's no failure in that. You know, it's all learning experiences and just the amount of time that we can enjoy the hobby together.
For sure.
Yes. A man's got to know his limitations.
And a lady knows her limitations. They're more intelligent than us.
Well, I think that's about it. Keith, thank you so much for being on the show. I know this was a little bit of a last minute thing. We had another guest plan that wasn't able to make it due to some health issues with a family friend. But you're going to be back on the show in the future. So you jumped right in. I thought about you right away, and I'm so glad that you were able to come on, and really, really encouraged to see what's happening with your Kickstarter with the role player expansion. Tell people just real quick again where they can find you and that type of thing.
Sure. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Thunderworks GAM. I'm easily findable on Facebook. If you give a search to Keith Matejka or Thunderworks Games, and then my website is www.thunderworksgames.com. I'm known as being super responsive, so if you send me a message, I will definitely respond. So
quickly send a message.
Everybody, Game Topper, or
right.
I was going to say Game Topper Nation. Ricky and Badger, all of Babblelites, send him an email right now.
Still waiting.
Who is this guy?
Delete spam.
I gotta ban you real quick. Yeah. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions about Thunderworks stuff or role player. Or I've got some titles coming out for Gen Con. If you have any questions about that stuff, I am around, and I'll see you at the next thing.
Well, that's fantastic. Check out Thunderworks Games. You've got 5 days left on Kickstarter. Jump in on that bad boy. As always, our Game Toppers 2.0 Kickstarter, it's running right now. We have 15 days left on the campaign. Over 25 stretch goals have been unlocked. We're cruising on to introducing a bunch of new items, not only Game Toppers, but custom thematic sculpted rails from Dogmite Games, new thematic game mats, the new Scythe-inspired mat, the Viking mat, and the all-new fantasy mat that's going to be revealed shortly. Check out all of those things. It's fantastic, fun stuff. And you can go in just for $1 and just kind of see all the things and see if Game Toppers is a solution for you. So you can check us out at GameToppersLLC.com. And also check out our great sponsor, Arcane Wonders, with their new releases. You can see them at arcanewonders.com. And Barry, how can they find you?
I'm hidden behind this. No, you can find me on BoardGamesEverybodyShould.com, where I have all my board game reviews. Not only my board game reviews, but I now have a team of French board game bloggers as well, blogging in French and English. Woohoo! And also you can find the Berkey and Badger Board Game Babble podcast there, as well as the soundtracks that I'm working on. I'm somewhere there.
And you can check us on the Board Game Geek Guild 2248, Berkey and Badger, and you can join in our polls. Barry's going to come up with some kind of cool poll for this topic, and I don't know what he's going to come up with, but it's going to be cool, and it better be cool, Barry.
Should I disguise myself as that?
Well, I'm asking you to take it up a notch, an ultra cool poll about working a convention.
Okay, no problems. All right. Should Kabuki Kid work at a convention? Yes or no? There's my poll.
That's a good poll.
And what stand would she work at? She knows everything.
That's a good question. Who'd you like to work for? And we say Thunderworks Games.
I might be looking for people for Essen. So
taken. Sorry.
I definitely need some help with some people at Essen as well.
Taken. Sorry.
You can renegotiate the contract.
Yep, that's right.
I'm taking my Game Topper as well. So
hey, if you come and work at my booth, you get some crackers for free.
Oh wow! With Nutella. Yay!
Well, if you want Nutella, you have to pay me. That's
okay.
The problem.
Belgium's not that far away. We can get some chocolate of some sort.
So Chris Whitpan said he'll work for plane tickets. Yeah, that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd usually buy 2 or 3 plane tickets for people to work in your booth for a few days, wouldn't you, Keith?
From where?
Yeah, that's the question. From Germany.
Like within Germany?
Yeah, from Germany to Germany.
Yeah,
I'll do that.
I'll do France to Germany just for.
Yeah.
Just for the cracker lovers out there.
Maybe even the UK to Germany. But well, with that, we have another wonderful show coming to a conclusion. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. And we will be back before the end of our Game Toppers Kickstarter on July 25th. We'll be back with another show and going to talk about some of the games that we've been playing with our good, the not so bad, and ugly segment. So with that, we're going to call it quits and send us on out there, Sir Barry.
We're so glad we had this time together, and now it's time to go. It won't be long until we have another show. So keep us in mind, get online. Berkey and Badger will be back
in no time.